All right, so I don't even really know if pickups videos are still a thing anymore on YouTube. Certainly they were back in the old days of YouTube. But you know what I really miss? Like I always talk about like the old days of game collecting and the forums and whatnot. And my favorite ongoing thread on most, retro gaming forums was always the thrift finds thread because it was constantly being updated because we were all going out there and finding stuff at the thrift stores, and it was always a big thrill to like come home and you take a picture of all your stuff and you'd post it up online and how much you paid for it, and then you would get to read and see other people's posts of the same thing, and you'd get jealous, like, oh, somebody found Earthbound for $1 or whatever. And like if you go to those threads now, I mean, like I'm still an active member on the Atari Age forums, but you go into the thrift finds thread now, and it's just kind of sad, just because the thrift finds have really dried up for the most part. But I figure in some ways doing like a pickups video is kind of like the 2019 equivalent of that, I guess. And also, honestly, it's Sunday afternoon, and I just felt like making a video. For some reason, like ironically, Sunday is like the most depressing day of the week. If you're like when I was a kid, I hated Sundays because it meant I had to go back to school on Monday, like especially in high school. And then now as an adult, if you're somebody who works the sort of standard 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, all day Sunday, I feel like, at least for me, like, I'm walking around kind of moping because I know that, tomorrow I have to go back to work. And, for some reason, like when I was younger and, I worked retail or worked, I had like other jobs in sort of the service industry, if you want to call them that, where you're dealing with customers, then, if it's like a weekend or a holiday, that's like your busy time. And so, like I remember like the job that I had in, when I was going through community college after Radio Shack, my days off were Tuesday and Wednesday. But like you didn't get the same feeling on Wednesday, or at least I didn't get the same feeling on Wednesday that I now get on Sunday. Like Sundays were fine because Sunday was my Thursday. So really it was kind of cool because, that was a busy day and then Monday was like a quiet day. And so Sundays were cool, but then somehow Wednesday, even though Wednesday was my Sunday, it didn't feel like a Sunday. And so I didn't have that like, depressing Sunday thing. But anyway, today is Sunday and I got to go to work tomorrow. So, anyway, we should just go ahead and get started. So I got quite a bit of mail here to go through. Anytime I think that, maybe the whole postcards thing is starting to wind down, I get a bunch more, which is cool. Very cool. The first one, this was actually a package that I got from Brandon up in Sault Ste. Marie, but Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, not Michigan, which made me feel bad because I think this guy, poor Brandon, had to kind of spend a lot of money sending me this package. But he did include a postcard in the package of Sault Ste. Marie there. So that looks pretty cool. And he says that he can see their twin city, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, from his bedroom window. So that's really cool. And anyway, so very cool postcard. Brandon also sent me a really cool letter. And then Brandon, I already sent you back a letter, but I don't know how long that takes to get to you since you are up in Canada. And then he said I didn't have to show this on the video, but I got a pretty big kick out of it. Now, if you are not somebody who follows me on like Twitter or Instagram, you might not really understand the reference. But he sent me this sign. And then Brandon, I don't know if did you make this sign or just buy this sign? It seems more like you made the sign. I can't imagine. This seems like kind of a esoteric thing if somebody's selling these. But either way, it's very cool. And I'm going to put it up, obviously, outside. But I just haven't done it yet. But and it's wood, but you see it says lap chicken crossing, and that's because I have a chicken that for a while was sitting in my lap a lot when I would go outside and sit in the Adirondack chair. But because she was lonely, because she was our last chicken. But then we got a couple of new chickens, like young chickens, for her to like be the mother to, and now she doesn't want to have anything to do with my wife or I, even though she was a lap chicken. But this is still an awesome sign. My wife also got a huge kick out of it, so thank you, Brandon. I might even put it up outside today. Who knows? Next here, we got a postcard from Sam in New Jersey. So not our first postcard from New Jersey, but pretty cool postcard. And I've been watching The Sopranos lately, kind of binge watching it actually. So it was kind of cool to get a postcard from Jersey here. And he says, I have a YouTube channel if you want to check it out. And the channel is called Samuel Rivera Films. So if you're interested, go check out Samuel Rivera Films. He's a Classic Gaming Quarterly fan, so he must be cool. Next one here comes from John in Beckley, West Virginia. This is our first postcard, by the way, from West Virginia. And it's a pretty cool postcard there of West Virginia. So cool. Thank you. The rest of these postcards, I think I haven't sent a response. And I think that even might include Sam here. No, I think, Sam, I think you got your postcard. But if not, let me know and I'll send you another one. But yeah, anyway, I still owe a postcard to John from West Virginia. This next one, this is, again, a first. This is our first postcard from Greece. So that's pretty awesome. And so this comes from Tomomi, who she wrote this postcard on behalf of her husband. Says, my Greek husband loves your YouTube channel. I'm Japanese and I used to play video games, but not so often as when I grew up. And I guess Tomomi makes these. Well, she must, because it has her website. She must make these prints. And sorry, I think that's getting blown out there by the light. But yeah, tomomian.com, I guess you can get these postcards. It's really pretty cool, actually. And again, first postcard from Greece, so thank you, Tomomi. And say hi to your husband. She doesn't even say her husband's name, so I can't say hi to him. But Tomomi, say hi to your husband for me. And next year we have Robert. And Robert did not, so I don't know if you meant to do this or not, Robert. There's no return address here, so I can't send you back a postcard. And the postcard is from Kruger National Park in South Africa. And apparently that's because, well, Robert says here that he was stationed in Mozambique. I guess he was in, the military. And he says they used to drive through Kruger Park to go shopping in South Africa. And so he picked this postcard up while he was over there. But that's pretty awesome, even though, so the postcard didn't get sent from South Africa, but it's still from there. It counts. So, Robert, if you wanted a postcard back, just drop me an email, and I will get one sent out to you. Next one, last one, kind of, actually. It comes from Michael from Lake Oswego, Oregon. For those of you who've been watching this channel for a while, this is not the first thing by far we've gotten from Michael. He sent me a couple of cool t-shirts. He sent me the Portland Retro Gaming Expo t-shirt, and then later on he sent me the Super Nintendo mini console. And he regularly watches the live streams, either live or in the archive. And I really hope at some point that I can get up to Oregon again, to Portland for some reason, and because I'd really like to actually meet Michael in person. Michael and I are both UC Davis alumni, so that would be cool. So he says he couldn't find a postcard that's actually from Lake Oswego, so he sent this postcard from the Oregon coast. So that looks pretty cool. Anybody who's seen The Goonies, that was filmed on the Oregon coast in Astoria. And this doesn't specifically say, this is from Cannon Beach, which is south of Astoria, I believe. But certainly that scene looks like it could be out of The Goonies. So that's pretty cool. And then last, I got this. This was kind of an interesting little package, if you want to call it that, from Ryan. And I guess Ryan lives... This is not actually from Ryan, so Ryan, I assume that you live in Pennsylvania. But this, I'm not going to even say this right. Is it Punxsutawney? Is that how you say it? The groundhog that they drag out every year during Groundhog's Day. Ryan got me a membership to the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club, which is pretty cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. So, you get like a certificate here, a certificate of membership. that actually has a paw print from the groundhog Punxsutawney Phil, which again, I'm probably not saying that correctly. You get a little membership card. I don't know if if I go visit Punxsutawney, does this get me in somewhere or something? I have no idea, but it's definitely neat. And some other paperwork here. Lodging in Punxsutawney. So they're giving you some information if you want to come visit Punxsutawney for Groundhog's Day. So that's pretty cool. And then here, this is pretty nice. I might put this up or something. This is pretty cool. Here's just a picture of the groundhog. And then once again on the back is a paw print there. Groundhogs are pretty cute. I wonder if they make good pets. I doubt it. Anyway, so that's it for that. So I guess for now, or starting now, this is going to be more of a pickups or just things that I've gotten recently, mostly that I purchased myself. And there's just one exception to that we're going to kind of lead off with, because this is something I actually feel really bad about. So for those of you who've, I don't know if you've noticed or been paying attention or whatever, that was it like late November, I think, I bought a Switch. And when I ordered the Switch, I, mentioned it on Twitter that I was getting the Switch. And I got an email from a viewer named Nick, who just told me to keep an eye out for a package that was going to be coming my way. And I was like, okay, And so it turns out Nick ordered me something off of Amazon and had it sent to my house. And I actually got this before I got my Switch, believe it or not. But I meant to show this during the Christmas episode with the rest of the stuff that people had sent me. And I feel really bad that it's not even that I forgot. It was literally sitting on my desk right behind me, but there was something sitting on top of it. And so I forgot that it was there, I guess. And I sent Nick an email apologizing, because I figured that when the video came out, he was going to think that, I showed it. Because I know how I feel, when I send something to BitHead or something, I get a huge thrill out of seeing, him show it on the show or whatever. And so I let Nick know ahead of time, because I don't want him wasting his time sitting there, waiting and hoping and then having it not happen. So, but it was just an honest mistake. And so I do apologize, Nick. And this was a really awesome gift. So what it is, and I didn't even know this. Well, I don't want to keep people waiting. But so it's from Hori. It's a Hori D-pad controller. And so just to show you how out of touch I am, when I bought the Switch, I didn't really know that much about the Switch. I just knew there was a couple of games I wanted to play for it. I knew the basics of how the thing worked, and it looked pretty cool. And I decided, well, I'm going to get a Switch. But I didn't know that the Switch doesn't have a D-pad, which seems kind of stupid. But it seems kind of stupid that I didn't know that, but it also seems kind of stupid that the Switch doesn't have a D-pad. But so what this does is this basically gives the Switch a D-pad when you're playing it in handheld mode. So so it's not in the box because I have it on here so I can show you guys. So so here's my Switch, and you can see that what it does is it replaces the left Joy-Con. So you still have the analog stick here, but now you have a D-pad here instead of having just a cross of 4 buttons. And like I said, I didn't know that the Switch didn't have a D-pad. And, the first game that I bought when I got the Switch was R-Type Dimensions, because that game actually came out just coincidentally the same day that I got my Switch. And so I went ahead and bought it and spent quite a bit of time playing it. And as I told Nick in the email, I can guarantee you that I would not have had nearly as much fun playing it if I hadn't had the D-pad. So that was really, really cool. Now, the only thing with that is that it doesn't have a battery in it, so you can't use that when you have your Switch docked, because you can't take that and stick it into that little frame thing that the Switch comes with. So it only works in handheld mode, which is totally fine with me, but I'm just saying if it's something anybody else says, oh, I didn't know that existed, just, know that going in. So, but like I said, just, what a super thoughtful gift. As you can see, if you didn't see, it's got some Zelda artwork on it. There's also one that has Mario themed, artwork on it, and then I believe you can also buy them, without sort of the extra artwork on them if you don't want that. But But again, like I said, Nick, it's like it was something that I didn't know that I wanted because I didn't know it existed. But I guarantee you that if I had gotten the Switch, seen that it didn't have a D-pad, and then found out about these, I 100% would have bought one. So just thank you so much for that. It was super thoughtful of you. So next, we'll just get into just some other random stuff that I've bought lately. Some of this stuff I don't really have anything to say anything about. Other stuff might be interesting. Just because it came out this week, I got Super Mario Brothers, new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. I never had a Wii U, so even though this is a game that's just ported from the Wii U, it's new to me because I never played it. I had, well, I guess I still have it, new Super Mario Brothers for the Wii and new Super Mario Brothers for the DS. But while it's very similar, this is a new game, so that's pretty awesome. And then the only other Switch item I have, just in case anybody's not aware of the existence of this thing, is I got a flip grip. And if you don't know what a flip grip is, what this does is this allows you to play your Switch in, I guess, like if you want to say Tate mode. I don't know, am I even saying that right? Like if you're going to play vertically scrolling shooters, there are some Switch games that will let you rotate the screen, but then you have to hold your Switch in sort of a cockamamie configuration there. But with this flip grip, that I don't remember what I paid for it, but it was pretty cheap. You can rotate your screen, but keep the controls not rotated. So you can take your Switch screen and slide it in like that, and then your Joy-Cons will attach on the side here. Now, with this thing, I'll put this in here just so you kind of see what it looks like, but with this thing, you cannot use this D-pad controller, just again, because it doesn't have a battery in it. But that still shows you like what it would look like or whatever when you have it going. So that way you can play your shooters, with sort of the proper aspect ratio. Although I think technically you might have a little bit of extra area at the top of the bottom because this is not a 4:3 display, of course. But so for stuff like, I have the SNK collection. What is it? The SNK 40th anniversary collection that came out, which is actually why I bought the Switch in the first place. You can rotate the games in that. It has a number of games that, like Alpha Mission, I think Merc is on there, Akari Warriors is definitely on there. And in the arcade, those were all vertically oriented games. And so that way you can play them the proper way. And then there's a number of like Japanese arcade shooters that you can download, or I think there's even some physical collection discs that you can get if you're willing to import through, like Play Asia or whatever. So that about does it for, that does do it for Switch stuff. What else here? So I got, some boring stuff. I got an S-Video cable for my Dreamcast, just because there's a few launch games that are not compatible with the VGA cable. Like if you try to play them, you get a message saying that, this game is not compatible with your video cable or something like that. So I can't record gameplay footage. So for some of the games in the Dreamcast launch episode, it's going to be an S-Video instead of VGA, so they're not going to look quite as good. I don't think anybody really actually cares. But I can't find, I guess I must have gotten rid of it, I couldn't find my Dreamcast AV cable, which is weird. I still even have the box for my Dreamcast, and I looked in the box. But the video cable's gone, so I would like to get another first-party AV cable just so that my system is complete or whatever. But in the meantime, I got this third-party S-Video cable off of eBay. I haven't plugged it in yet, so I don't know how good it is, but it certainly seems like it's nice quality. So hopefully there's not a bunch of interference in the picture. Next, so I ended up ordering this game just because, I'd never played it before, and then, the last Let's Read I did was of those 2 Atari magazines, and I played this game Stargate, and just really, really liked it. I never knew it existed. I knew about Defender, of course, but I didn't realize that there was a sequel to Defender, and I just played the game and thought it was pretty cool. And I guess it's not a super common game, so this cost me about $20, which is, for an Atari game, to me, that's kind of steep. But I don't have a whole lot of Atari games. I got rid of all my Atari games when I got my Harmony cartridge, which is just similar to EverDrive for the Atari 2600. But I kept some of my favorite games, like games that I really like. And that goes for any system. If it's a game I really like, I want to actually have a copy of it. And it certainly had been quite some time since I bought an Atari game outside of the homebrew game I bought over Christmas, Stella's Stocking. And so I grabbed Stargate. And I actually, it's probably going to be another one of those things that I never get to. But, the best way to play Stargate is with two controllers so that you can use, I forgot, the Invisio, Hyperspace, and the Smart Bomb. You use the second controller. So ideally, you need a joystick and 4 buttons to play Stargate. And what has a joystick and 4 buttons? Neo Geo arcade joystick. And so I was thinking I might make an adapter so that I can plug my Neo Geo joystick into my Atari 2600 to play Stargate. Only because I don't know, it'd just be like a fun project to do. It's not like I'd even use it that often, but I thought that might just be kind of cool. So yeah, Stargate. And what do we want to do next here? Oh, this is just a really quick, stupid one. But at the CD store, I found, I got this NBA I Still Love This Game CD. And, it's a music CD, but the reason I ended up picking it up is it's one of these CDs where you can also stick it in your computer. And it has a playable demo of NBA Live 99. And it also has a screensaver. And I don't know, I just thought that would be cool to check out. Because this is from like the Windows 98 days. So I don't know, I just thought that would be kind of cool. I know that's not the most interesting thing in the world, but we do have some stuff that is kind of interesting. I picked up 3 new magazines. So that should be kind of exciting. The first one I picked up here, kind of based on a viewer request. Somebody said they thought it would be cool if I did a read-through of one of the EGM buyer's guides. And so I thought, yeah, that would be cool. And so I went and on eBay to see what I could find. And I got this 1992 buyer's guide, which I was really shocked at the condition. It's in basically mint condition. Like this is, like it just came off the newsstand, which, for anybody that buys video game magazines on eBay, it's pretty rare to get something in this nice a condition. This cost me about $20 with shipping, which is more than I like to pay. But it's in such nice condition that I don't mind at all. And you see, you got Sonic on the cover there, and Bonk, and Battletoads there. So Sonic's on the cover. That's Sonic from Sonic 1. But I think I've already flipped through here, and I think it was about Sonic 2, which came out in late 1992. But this is going to be kind of hard to do a Let's Read of because it's just basically tons and tons and tons of reviews. And so it would be difficult to show too much gameplay footage or get too bogged down talking about any one game. So, and that's a problem I'm kind of running into in general with the Let's Reads, is sometimes there's magazines where, like, it'd be cool to do a Let's Read of it, but at the same time, you can't, I can't show gameplay footage of all of them, or sometimes there's just cool articles in there that I could talk about, but it's one of those things where I feel like I kind of got trapped in the situation where the production value of those magazine read-throughs kind of got to the point that now if I go back and try to make one without doing, all of that gameplay footage and whatnot, some people might think that, like, well, it seems like you kind of phoned that one in. But like if you go back and look at and watch the early ones, I didn't put gameplay footage. Like, it didn't occur to me to do that until later on. But so it's probably another one of the situations where I'm just overthinking things. Anyway, next one I got here. So actually, these are all EGMs. I just now noticed that. I picked this one up. Probably most of you are familiar with that guy Alpha Omega Sin, who did he retire or something? Like, he's still active on Twitter, but I don't think he uploads videos anymore. But anyway, I was never really into his show or watched his show, but he's a cool guy and he's a nice guy, and so we follow each other on Twitter and whatnot. But he posted a picture of this magazine, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, I want to get a copy of that. And so this is EGM from May of 1997. But of course, the reason I was interested in it, is it better if I put it over there? The reason I was interested in it is because the cover story, of course, is Final Fantasy VII, which is one of my personal all-time favorite games. So, that game didn't come out until September of '97. So this is like this is a preview and not a review. But yeah, but there's a lot of cool stuff in this issue. So this would make for a good let's read. This last one, I don't know. I bought this last magazine with the intention of doing a let's read, and I'll probably end up still doing one. But I don't know. Something about it when I was reading through it made me feel like I don't know if this is going to be the world's best let's read, but that is once again EGM. This one is from February of 2001, and the reason I picked that up is just because the cover story is the Xbox, and I just spotted this because I sometimes I literally just go on eBay and I'll just type in like Electronic Gaming Monthly, and I'll just scroll through everything to see if anything stands out. And this one just kind of stood out. And again, this is from February of 2001. Now, the Xbox didn't come out until, I think, November of 2001. But in January of that year, it was revealed for the first time at CES. Like, they actually had the Xbox, and they had, I don't know if they actually had, like, game demos running. I imagine that they must have. But I think this is basically based on that. It even says, photos and screenshots inside. And if you read the magazine, it shows like, early conceptual drawings and then compares them to what actually ended up coming out. But the other reason I thought this would be cool is, February 2001 isn't too long after the launch of the PS2. So there's some coverage of some really early PS2 games. Here, they even mentioned down here Zone of the Enders, which I remember renting Zone of the Enders when it came out. But I only really rented it because if you got Zone of the Enders, you got a demo disc of Metal Gear Solid 2, and my roommate and I wanted to play that. But anyway, yeah, so this one was only $5, which is good because it's not really in very good condition, but that's all right. And then, well, we can go ahead and do this now. We'll take a little temporary departure from video games because I got some new Lego sets. These I just got yesterday, actually. So, sorry, my mouth is just dry. Whenever, I go to Target or my wife and I go to Target together, there's certain places in the store that I always hit, like I always go, there's like the little end caps in the back where they have like electronic stuff that's on clearance. Sometimes you find cool stuff in there. I always swing through the video game section to see what's in there. And then I always go to the Lego aisle. I don't really, I used to be more of a frequent visitor of like Lego forums, and I'm just not anymore. So like new sets come out and I don't know about it. And so the way I find out about it is I just see them on the shelf at Target. And so I ended up picking up 3 new sets, little sets. See, it's kind of funny how people just don't change. It's like when I was a kid, I would spend all my money on Lego sets, but I would buy little sets because to me it was like a better value than getting a big set. And just as an example, yesterday I saw a really cool big set. It was a Porsche 911 RSR Lego Technic set. And the box was big, but it was like $150. So, thanks, but no thanks. But I did pick up some other car related or sets or car sets. But first, I got this set, and I actually remember seeing a picture of this one online. I don't remember where, but it's one of those things where I saw the picture and I was thinking, man, I want to get that. But I just assumed I would kind of forget. But then I remembered while I was there. So I've never seen the Lego Movie or the Lego Movie 2, so I have no idea what they're like. But this one, so I'm saying I don't know what this is. It's Benny's Space Squad. But, and this was like $10, so it was pretty cheap. But the reason I got it is that basically what you're getting is like a little minifigure set. You get 4 classic space minifigures. So, who wouldn't want that? And what was also kind of cool, at least to me, is that there's a pink Spacelady. So, I don't know. I just thought that was pretty neat. Because, I have a lot of these space figures, but I certainly don't have a pink one. So, that's pretty cool. It's like, I have my Forestman, and then I have the one Forest Woman figure. And I never had, anybody who was, clearly a female space figure. So now I got one. I haven't opened these yet, only because I think I was kind of waiting to make this video, but I'm probably going to at least open this one today after I'm done, because I want to check that one out. But so that's the only non-car one that I got. And I don't know, again, if you follow me on Twitter, I've posted some pictures. there's these Speed Champions sets that Lego has been coming out with for kind of a while now. And I've already bought quite a few of them, and I've put some of them together. I still have some that I haven't put together, which I'll just show you a few here that I also grabbed. But the two that I got yesterday, these are both pretty awesome. And again, so these are 15, because they have a bunch of these where they're all the same size. They're all, like minifigure scale cars, and they're all $15. And so every once in a while, a new one or a couple new ones come out, and I grab them. And so the first one I got here is, is a classic sports car, is the Ferrari F40. So I was pretty excited when I saw that one. And then what's even cooler is on the back, they even show you a picture right there of a real Ferrari F40, just so you can check it out. But so yeah, I mean, this one looks really neat. And so I'm definitely looking forward to putting that one together. And then the other one that I grabbed yesterday was, it's funny because this car just came out and there's already a Lego set, is the Senna McLaren, or the McLaren, Senna McLaren. And that's, McLaren came out with this supercar to commemorate Senna, one of their all-time greatest drivers. And I don't know, it's kind of funny because I don't really think that much of the car. Like, it's a cool car. I mean, it's a McLaren, it's cool and everything. But there's really not a whole lot about the car that screams Senna to me personally. But, I mean, it's like I said, it's still a cool car. And, how often do you get a chance to buy a Lego set that actually has the Senna logo on it? So how are you going to say no to that? And then I got a few more here that I've had for a while. I just haven't had a chance to put them together yet. But I just figured, since we're talking about Speed Champion sets, I would just show them. And that's, arguably one of the greatest race cars ever built, the Porsche 919, which I am very much looking forward to putting together. This was a Porsche LMP1 car that is no longer racing, just completed like a world tour. And I'm kicking myself. They had the Rennsport reunion over in Monterey a couple months ago, and I just didn't know about it until it was like the weekend it was happening at Laguna Seca. And they had the 919 there doing laps around the track. I'm like, man, I wish I'd gone. And the other one I got is, and again, these are all $15 sets. And that's what's cool, is it's just like, they kind of trickle out. So sometimes you go to Target and you're just buying, paper towels and whatever else. And you go check and, there's a new Speed Champion set. So it's kind of like being a kid again. Every once in a while you go to the store and there's a new toy, That is the F1 car. This is the only F1 car that I have. Is the Ferrari SF16H. So that is their F1 car from the 2016 season. I don't know why, of all things, they chose this one. But it looks really cool. And, I guess I just lied. I said I didn't have any other F1 cars. I forgot. There was a bigger set that I bought that was like a Ferrari garage, and it had 3 different Ferraris in it. And one of them was, I can't remember which model number it was, but it was Niki Lauda's car from like 76 or 77. What is that, a 312 T2? I probably have that wrong, but whatever it is, it's cool. All 3 of the cars that came with it are cool. One of them was like an F1 car, I think. No, I think that was the only F1 car. It came with a GTO, that, and then like a sports car, like a racing sports car, like an IMSA car. And then the last one that I got here, I haven't put this one together yet either. So this one comes with 2 cars, so it was like $30 instead of $15. But here you get 2 Porsches. You get a Porsche 911 RSR, which is that guy, and then you just get a Porsche 911 Turbo, which is that one. Kind of, at least in my opinion, unfortunate choice on the color, but that's all right. It still looks really cool. So yeah. Anyway, so that does it for the Legos. And then the next thing, I just got this one the other day, actually, and once again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I already posted about this on Twitter, so if you follow the show on Twitter, this is not a surprise. But I picked up, this was kind of a big hole in my collection, in my opinion. There really aren't too many Genesis games that I still want, but this was one, and most of the games I want are shooters. Like I don't have Gyarus. What else don't I have? I don't have Musha. But this was another one that I lumped in with those, another game that I really wanted to get. And that's Thunderforce 3. So I have Thunderforce 2, and that was one of the launch games. And I can't remember where I got Thunder Force 2. And then I have Thunder Force 4, which was a thrift store find in like 2004. And I think I paid like $2 for it. It's totally complete. Even has like the registration card and like little advertisements in it, and everything's in like totally mint condition. You know, like those were the days, you know. But I never had Thunder Force 3. And probably my favorite game in the series is actually Thunder Force 2. Thunder Force 4, at least in my opinion, has the best graphics. Like the sand, I don't know the names of the stages. There's like the sand stage. That one doesn't look very good at all. But like if you really want to show somebody like the graphical prowess of the Genesis, the certain stages in Thunder Force 4 are just like wow. But I think gameplay wise, I feel like Thunder Force 4 is, you know, kind of puts you to sleep a little bit. Thunder Force 3, on the other hand, is incredibly difficult, but in a way that makes you want to keep playing it, which is to me like the perfect kind of game. So it's pretty cool to get this. You know, obviously I'm picky about condition because, you know, I have an EverDrive, and so what's the point of having a real copy if it's not going to be a nice one? So I think with shipping, this cost me about $80, so it really wasn't cheap. But again, you know, it's very rare that I buy games anymore. I mean, out of everything I'm talking about, the only 2 retro games I have are these 2. So you know, so I don't mind. You know, the days of getting things for thrift store prices are just over. And so for me now, it's just quality over quantity. So I don't mind, you know, popping $100 on a couple of games because I just don't do it very often. So anyway, yeah, Thunder Force 3. And then the last thing I have to show here, so this is sort of, you know, I don't know, it's not a story, but just sort of some advice as far as this goes. So this is an example of why you should tell people, if you're into old video games, if that's your hobby, like, you know, let people know that, oh, hey, what'd you do this weekend? You know, oh, nothing, you know. I do that, right? Because I don't like, you know, I go to work and they don't like video games. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, I played Genesis all weekend, you know, because I don't know, it's embarrassing or I'm self-conscious or whatever. But, you know, like a while back, you know, in the intro to one of his videos, Bithead was talking about how, you know, if you look across the neighborhood, you know, in his estimation, which I think is probably not correct, but he said that, like, you know, most houses have video games in them. You know, like old video games or stuff no one's playing anymore. And his whole thing was trying to figure out how to get them out, right? Because, like, you know, he goes to all these garage sales to find stuff, but then you're waiting for the people to clean out their house and bring the stuff outside, you know? And most of the time when he buys, or anybody else that goes to garage sales, when you buy old video games, it's just somebody's cleaning out their garage or cleaning out their basement or cleaning out their entertainment center, and they're just putting all this crap out on the driveway and charging pennies for it, because the main motivator for those types of people, you know, your standard working class garage sale, is not to make money. It's just to get stuff out of your house. I mean, that's why I do it. I clean out my garage. Every once in a while I have a garage sale, and it's not about the money. It's just like, get this stuff out of here. And if I can make enough money that after it's over, my wife and I can walk downtown and have lunch, then hey, great. But, you know, it certainly, if there was something that I had, you know, in my garage or in my basement that I was just kind of waiting to get rid of, and I knew that there was somebody in my family or among my group of friends or at work that I knew would want something like that, I would happily go give it to them. And so that's my point of saying, if you're into retro games, like, let people know, like, yeah, you know, I kind of collect this stuff and I go out looking for it or whatever, because every once in a while you're going to get somebody who's going to say, hey, you know, I have my old Nintendo 64 at my parents' house. Next time up there, I'll go grab it for you and you can just have it. I mean, that happens. And I mean, it was quite some time ago, maybe even almost 10 years ago. Like, my wife happened to tell somebody at her job that I was into old video games. And he's like, oh, I think I got something. I'll bring, you know, tomorrow or whatever. And the dude shows up at work with a stack of Genesis games that he just happened to still have around and didn't want anymore, and just gave them to my wife to give to me. And there were actually some kind of harder to find games in there. And the main one I remember is Insector X, which is a shooter from Sage's Creation, I think. Well, I have it over here, but I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get off topic. But not the kind of game you're going to run across at a thrift store or even necessarily at a video game store, because those were games that they didn't make that many copies of. And that was purely because the person found out that somebody that they didn't even know, but that somebody that they knew would give them a good home. And so I'm just saying, let people know, and you never know when somebody might, give you something. And so that's where I got all this stuff here. And so what happened was at work, my office is right next door to the IT guy's office. And I don't really work with too many guys. It's like mostly women and then a few of us guys. And so, I tend to get kind of chummier with the guys, And although, I'm friends with everybody, but, I chatted up with the IT guy a lot. He's one of the few people at work that even knows I have a YouTube channel. And so he knows I'm into old video games. And so one day he shows up at work with this box and just says, "Here you go. I got this out of my parents' garage or whatever." And it was his old PlayStation 2. And so I got a PS2 Fat, which is nice because, so I got my PS2 on launch day. And but then when the PS2 Slim came out, I traded in my Fat PS2 and got a Slim PS2. And I always kind of missed it, just because to me this is a PS2. And so it was really cool to get that back. It's got a few scuffs in it or whatever, but who cares? It works. The only thing that's kind of wrong with it, if you want to say that, is that when you push the button to eject the tray, it kind of has a spot where it slows down, like, and I can imagine in my mind's eye that's probably because the belt that brings the tray out, from sitting in one position for so long, I bet the belt, and probably hardening from age, I think the belt is like a little bit deformed, and but like it still comes out. It's just you have to give it an extra minute. Maybe if I like opened it and then turned the system off, so it had to sit there open, maybe it would help kind of like rebend the belt. I don't really know, and I don't know if that's the kind of thing that I can easily replace. But anyway, the point is that it works, and so it's nice to have a Fat PS2 again. I actually do have another Fat PS2, but it's modded, so this one's just stock. So this is pretty cool, just because I do want to do a PS2 live stream at some time or at some point, and so maybe I can use this one. And then it also came with a first-party PS2 memory card, and I mean it came with I'm not going to show. It came with a controller that's in good shape, and came with a PS1 first-party memory card. I don't really like third-party memory cards, but it's always nice to have another first-party memory card. So it didn't come with any PS1 games, but it came with a PS1 memory card. It came with like some component cables that are third-party, because you can also hook them up to an Xbox. I think it looks like you can hook up to 3 things. Xbox 360, Xbox, and PS2 or PS1. And it's composite and component, actually. They're all right. I think it's this Pelican brand. Nope, Mad Catz. So, I mean, I didn't really need this. I already have component cables and AV cables and RGB cables. It just came with it, and that was fine or whatever. And then it came with a third-party memory card. And, back in the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 days, I always avoided third-party memory cards, because to me, it's like you're just asking to lose your data. So, but this is kind of neat anyway. So this is from this company, Interact, and it's this Mega Memory 16 megabyte card. So the standard first-party memory card is 8 megabytes. So this is 16 megabytes instead of 8. But then it says it comes with this memory manager disk that I guess is somehow supposed to help you store even more data on it. I don't really... it says this pack includes Memory Manager Plus. Memory Manager Plus expands the capabilities of your memory cards, allowing you to fit up to 10 times more data onto each memory card. So, and it doesn't say that that's only for these, but I don't know if you could use this with the standard one. But again, this just seems like, this is what you do if you want to lose your save data. But I mean, I don't know that for a fact. But it was just cool that it came with that, and it was even still in the case and everything. I don't know, whatever, I guess. And then it did come with a bunch of games. Now, I'm not going to show... It came with like every Guitar Hero game that ever came out for the PS2. And like I put those straight into the thrift store box downstairs to get donated because I don't want any of those really. So I don't have those to show. So, but what I do have here is I have about nine games. So these are just not going to be in any particular order, but I thought it was cool to have these. Now, a lot of these are earlier titles for the system. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of them, but some of them. And so that's cool to have just for, show reasons. First two here, I got 3 fighting games. I got DOA 2 Hardcore, which wasn't this a launch game? I don't remember that for a fact. I might be talking out of my butt, but I could swear this was a launch game for the PS2. And I thought this one was as well, but again, I haven't really done my homework. So, but that's Street Fighter EX3. And that one's missing the manual, unfortunately. DOA 2 is complete. This was definitely a launch title, and I think it was sort of on my short list of games that I might pick up at launch, but it ended up not making the cut. But that's Fantavision. So, because it got good reviews in PSM prior to the launch. They said it was a pretty cool game. And I was thinking about getting this, and then I had made the decision that I was going to get Dynasty Warriors 2 as my game at launch. And then somehow, sort of last minute, not literally, but within the last day before I got my PS2, I decided to get SSX instead of Dynasty Warriors 2, which I'm glad I did because I love that game. It came with both Gran Turismo games, which I think I already have both of these, so I don't know, but they're complete in the box, both of them. Gran Turismo 3 and 4. So that's pretty neat. This was the only greatest hits game that came out. I don't like greatest hits games, but I mean, I'm not complaining, obviously, but I got The Simpsons Hit and Run, which I don't think I've ever played, actually. So I'm actually looking forward to checking this one out. Yeah, I don't know much about it. I think I might have played it just a little bit on the computer, but other than that, I haven't really. Is it like Grand Theft Auto, but with Simpsons? I don't really know, but that one looks pretty neat. And then speaking of Grand Theft Auto, I got both the original GTA 3, so not the original, but the original on the PS2, GTA 3, and I got Vice City. And I spent a ton of time playing these games back when they came out. And I remember the day that Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, my roommate and I drove to the mall so that he could pick it up for his PS2. But then I remember he brought it home, and he had some other game he was working on, and he didn't want to quit. And so I got to play it before he did, although not for very long, because then I had to give it back. But this comes, GTA 3 here. It's got the manual, and it's got the map. So, it's complete. And Vice City has same thing, has the manual and the map. So that's pretty cool. And then the last one that I got here is Tekken 4. So, Tekken Tag Tournament was a launch game. Tekken 4 looks like didn't come out until 2001. I'm just going by the copyright on the back. So I haven't played Tekken 4. It looks cool. I've never been huge into Tekken. I like 2D fighters. But yeah, I don't have a problem with Tekken. I just, whatever. But anyway, so that was cool to have as well. So that's it. That's all my game pickups. Let me know, was this even entertaining? I don't know. I just, like I said, I felt like making a video, and I felt like, well, I got, this is an unusually high number of things for me to get all at once. This is like the last month or so of, acquisitions, if you want to call them that. And usually I don't buy that much stuff. So yeah, anyway, like I said, let me know. I could do another one of these sometime when I, once again, have some stuff worth showing. So I guess that'll do it pretty much for this episode. Today's Sunday. This will probably get uploaded tomorrow, I'm guessing, on Monday. And then, of course, on Tuesday, I'll be live streaming. And so for those of you who've been watching the live streams for the past couple weeks, we're playing through Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link for the NES. And I just released the archive of 3, I think, yesterday, part 3. Because it's going to end up being like a 4-part thing. Because we're beating the game. This is the first time I'm ever completing a game on a series of live streams. So when we left off the other night, I had gotten about halfway through the penultimate palace, Like I had picked up, I think, is it the cross that you get from the hidden palace, but not beaten the boss. And so on Tuesday night, we're going to need to beat that boss and then go to the final palace, which I think is called the Great Palace, and hopefully beat the game. And I'll say this again when I start that live stream, but I did play a little bit of the game off camera on Friday night to max out my character's levels so that it's now all 8s. And just actually accidentally, I ended up picking up the thunder magic just because I was in that town trying to get healed somewhere, and I found that guy and got the thunder magic. But I mean, you didn't miss anything. I was going to go beat the boss in the hidden palace, but I figured that's not cool to do a boss battle off screen. So we'll see how long that takes. The last palace is pretty long, so that might be kind of a longer live stream, but I'm pretty committed to at least getting to the end of the palace and trying to beat the game on the stream. If I can't beat, Link Shadow or whatever, I'm not going to stay up all night trying and bore everybody to death. But hopefully it'll be cool. So yeah. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of CGQ Plus. Again, let me know if this was entertaining or not. If you're still watching after however many minutes this has been, thank you, and I will see you guys next time.